Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to a fellow author whose book I have read and enjoyed recently. We'll be talking about each other's books that we have read, and we'll be exchanging notes on how we went about writing those books, what our writing journey has been, and what we have learned in our writing and author journey so far. Hello, Devansh. Thank you for joining. I'm waiting for my guest to join me so we can begin today's episode. Please stay connected. Hello, Shreya. Thank you for joining. I'm just going to add and invite my guest so we can begin today's episode. Please stay connected. Hello, Sakshi. Thank you for joining. My guest should be able to join us in a few seconds. Please stay connected. Hey, good evening. I am going to be talking to author Neelabh Pratap Singh, who has written 20 plus books already in the past 2 years. And by the time I invite him for every new season of the Author Collaborative, he has written at least two or three books. And that's one thing that I find really admirable about him, the speed at which he writes and the consistency at which he writes and publishes his books. We have with him with here. I'm just going to add him so we can begin the episode. Yes, Devansh, I did say something like that in my caption. So he writes very quickly, and by the time I invite him for the next episode, he has at least two to three new books. Hello, Neelabh. Hello, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. Breathing, living, and writing.
Yeah, writing more importantly, and giving me major FOMO as always. इतना सारा कैसे लिख रहा है ये बंदा?
I just sit in front of my laptop and just type. Nothing else. No secret.
Yeah, you give me major writing goals. So before we talk about our books, okay, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure, I think it's the third time I'm going to introduce myself to your audience. Uh, so, as always, I'll start with my profession and my education. Uh, I am a mechanical engineer, a proud mechanical engineer, and I still have a day job. And writing started only as a hobby and as a passion, and later on, it kind of uh, just seeped into my life, and I am spending equal time in writing and in my day job. And last time we met, I had the book count of almost 17 books, and now my tally has reached up to 25 books. So you can see it has become an integral part of my life.
Yes. So I wrote in my caption also, and while inviting also, I said the same thing that by the time I invite you for the new season, I'm pretty sure you must have written at least two, three new books. And this time we are discussing the first book in the series, Scorpion Ops, right?
That's right.
Yes. And I must tell you, for first of all, that out of all the books that I've read of yours so far, this one is like now on top of the list. I've always enjoyed reading your books and stories and thrillers. Your thrillers are very exciting, and like edge of the seat kind of thrillers. But this has been like my favorite so far, and the growth is visible.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored.
So before we discuss the book further, I'm just going to read out a few passages so people get an idea of which book we are talking about. Let's just show
Sure.
them the cover also first. This is the cover of the book that I have read of Neelabh's, and it is the first book in the Scorpion Ops series. I'm going to read out the first few paragraphs from the book itself, from the first chapter. It starts like this. Rehana Rasool, a native of Srinagar, the picturesque summer capital of Jammu and Kashmir, had always felt a sense of unease when it came to riding the ornately decorated gondola-style shikaras. Despite her lifelong familiarity with the city and the lake, she could never shake off the feeling of unease that overcame her whenever she found herself on one of these delicate vessels. Whether it was the gentle rocking of the boat or the seemingly endless expanse of water surrounding her, something about the experience always left her feeling uneasy and ill at ease. Situated at an altitude of over 1500 meters from sea level, the Dal Lake was a serene and enchanting body of water nestled amidst the majestic Himalayan mountain ranges. If Rihanna had visited the Dal Lake during the daylight hours, she would have been treated to a breathtaking view of the distant snow-capped Ir Panjal mountain range, its peaks piercing the clear blue sky. She would have seen the lake surrounded by verdant gardens and lush vegetation, the crystal clear, blue-green waters reflecting the radiant hues of the surrounding landscape. But alas, the darkness of the night had descended upon the lake, shrouding the surrounding landscape in an inky blackness. You know, you have painted such a beautiful and detailed picture of Kashmir and its beauty. And we know that Rihanna, she's a local. Already, we are immersed in her story, and we want to know why she is so ill at ease at her own hometown. So that's one of the things I really liked about the book, and it made me notice one more thing which I had noticed, but it came into like focus after reading this book. So my first question is actually based on that. All your series, they have a female lead in the center, and they are all thrillers. All your books are thrillers, and such books generally, what I have read and watched over the years, they have a male lead in the center. And you being a male writer, what were the challenges and how did you went about writing female characters in such a male dominated genre?
See, that was my view when I started reading. When I started reading, I started with romance, and then I switched over to thriller. Maybe like I think 3 4 years later, and that was the view I held at that time. That thrillers are more male dominated, both in terms of writing and reading. So that was what I thought. I read a few male authors, and then I came across female authors who are writing crime thrillers. And when I started reading these female authors, I realized, I mean, these male authors, they are writing just, just lack of a better word, garbage. Female authors, see, the male authors, all they are projecting is, oh, we know a lot of things. We know about weapons. We know about police procedures. Just they want to project an air of expertise. But female authors, they were all about story, all about characters, all about emotional connect. They were not about कि मुझे बिल्कुल facts पे रहना है. No, they were all about emotionally. They hit you emotionally, and by the end of the book, your mind is just blown away. And that was happened to me, and I thought, where were these female authors hiding? We all hear about these Arthur Conan Doyle or Dan Brown or James Patterson. There is Paula Hawkins is very popular, and if you think about female authors, they are all into romance or fantasy, like J.K. Rowling, or like historical fiction. By the way, J.K. Rowling, she writes great crime thrillers by the name of Robert Galbraith. So I was inspired a lot from female authors compared to the male authors. So when it came to writing a crime novel and having a protagonist, I thought, why should boys have all the fun? And that's the reason I thought, if I'm inspired from female writers, female authors, their books, and if I'm keeping a male protagonist, then I am nothing more than a hypocrite or like double standard. So that's why I thought, if I'm inspired from female authors, then I am going to have female protagonist who is solving crime, or who is fighting with the terrorist, or saving a hostage in a hostage situation. And that's the reason Rihanna Rasool is a para commando. We see a lot of para commandos and soldiers of male protagonists, but I wanted a female para commando. And I don't know how convincing it was, but I just wrote, I just considered her as a character, not as a male or female. I just treated her as any other character.
Yeah, I think I have heard this before also from a few of my fellow authors with whom I have had similar conversations. They always say that, we must not focus on the gender, we must focus on what we are trying to portray, we must focus on the
Content.
feeling, on what the message of the scene is. And then automatically everything falls into place. The gender doesn't come into the picture at all. And
Right.
I see that in your novels also, in all of your novels that I have read so far. We have editor Devansh here who is appreciating what I have read out. He said that, boy, that is some legit verbal cinematography happening.
Thank you.
And we also have him saying connection in thrillers by female authors is split.
Yeah. It's very
Yes.
understated and underrated. I don't know why.
Did we lose him? Neelabh, can you hear me? Nilshri is here. She's also saying not much into fiction, but I love this idea of treating character irrespective of gender. Yes, Nilshri, that is something I have also learned over the course of writing a few books. We have lost Nilab. Please stay connected. I should be able to add him again in a while. Must be some connectivity issue from his side. He'll be with us in a while. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions related to the conversation that I have had with him so far, please feel free to put in the comments. There's some connectivity issue from his end. I'm sure he'll be able to join us again in some time. We have a lot of people joining us today. Hello, Anil. It seems like you have read Neelabh's book. Rehana Rasool was a fabulous character. I also liked her a lot. Hello, Aurora Blue Moon. Thank you for joining. I have lost my today's guest. He should be able to join us in a few seconds again. There's some connectivity issue from his side. Yes, Devansh, exactly. Uh, gender, gender and characters. Gender is nothing. They are just characters. There's nothing like protagonist and antagonist, and gender shouldn't come into the picture while writing those characters. Please stay connected with us. I'm trying to add Neelabh to the live again. I'm still here. Please don't leave. I'm just trying to add Neelabh to the conversation again. I think there is some issue here. I'm just trying to resolve it. Extremely sorry for the delay. Stay connected. Yes, we have him here.
Okay, I am back. I know what the problem was. I had to restart the router, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to take the brand name of my my service provider, but it is quite a garbage connection. I mean, there's a problem here. It's June, almost June summer, but we still have thunderstorm going on outside in
Oh,
Delhi, and yeah, in this time of the year, so it's quite surprising. Anyway, uh, I'm back.
yes,
I'm sorry for the
yes.
interruption.
It's okay. We had a few comments from the viewers, and
Hmm.
Devansh is Devansh was just telling that what we are discussing, that gender shouldn't come. The character's emotion when character ही तो है, so he's saying like that. The protagonist or antagonist doesn't matter. It's the gender. It's the character that should come into focus. I think we have lost Neelabh again. Please stay connected. Yes, the router strikes again.
I'm
Can
sorry.
you hear us?
I'm
Are you
sorry.
with
Yeah,
us?
yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I was
The
saying myself,
router.
but you were just your frame was frozen. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully, no more surprises.
Yes. Let's keep our fingers crossed. We do have the people who have stayed connected to us. So thank you everyone for your patience. Yes.
Maybe
So
I have
my
to give them my books for free to compensate for the glitch.
I don't mind. I mean, I am all about, if they enjoy it and if it spreads the word, I just don't mind giving my books away.
Yeah,
They should be able to sell a few more. That's all that matters.
all right.
Uh, Let us sue the service provider. We have Anil who is saying that.
That would be
Okay.
great.
So my next
Yeah.
question to you is also related to something that I have observed in all the books that I have read of yours. And it is that you focus on a lot of geopolitical and societal issues. And this is a very risky thing that you do. It could go either way when you are doing such a thing. So what are the kind of challenges that you face and how do plot your storyline around these issues? What do you have a process
Uh,
for that?
yeah. See, crime thrillers are uh, pretty standard stuff. If you are reading and writing crime thrillers, they are pretty standard stuff. There is a crime, there are suspects, and there is a detective who is solving the case. Now, if you have sorted out these things, you can place the story anywhere, any country, any region, any community, any race, anything. So, but what I wanted my stories to be relatable to the audience, and especially Indian audience, Indian readers. And that's the reason I thought what additional things which I could do, which through which they can relate themselves to the story. So first is our social issues, which are quite unique to our country and sometimes unique to some certain regions. And then politics is evergreen. Politics never goes out of fashion. So that's the reason I picked these two, three things. And there are certain things which are related to certain region of the country, certain crime or corruption or organization. So that also I keep on including in my books. So that's my way of letting the readers connect through my stories.
And all the issues, whatever it is, societal or geopolitical issues that you integrate in your stories, they somehow, they form such an integral part of the entire crime that the story is revolving around. So that
Yes.
also kind of forces the reader to think about the issue.
Yeah.
Even if they have not given it much thought before reading your book, they not only gain some knowledge about it, but they also see a new insight into it. There's a new perspective also that comes into play. So
Yeah.
kudos on that as well.
Conflict,
We,
basically, just let me go a bit more technical. So conflict is the major, is the central theme of any book. If there is no conflict, then there is no story. Be it a romance or historical fiction, fantasy, mythology, anything, there has to be a conflict.
yeah.
So what I do is I pick the conflict and I just connect or infuse the, maybe it is a politics or social issue into the conflict, because conflict is not going anywhere. Other things can come and go, but conflict is always there, and I try to infuse these issues in the conflict itself.
Yes, we have Nidhi Upadhyay here, whose book I have, she's also a thriller writer, and whose book I have read recently and enjoyed a lot. So, hi Nidhi, thank you for joining us. Neelashri is laughing on the politics part. I'm not understanding it, but
It's a favorite pastime.
okay, we have Akshobhya here, who's always a regular on my author collaboratives, and as always, he was excited about
There
this.
is a
So thank
song of ice and fire here, and Brandon Sanderson on this side.
always fun to have him. He engages a lot on these lives, so we can expect him to put up some comments as we are conversing.
Yeah, I'm actually waiting. I mean, I'm looking forward to having a session with you, Prabhanjan, very
Yes.
soon.
Okay. I am at the end of my questions that I had for you. I leave the floor to you now. If you have any questions related to my book that you have read.
Yeah, sure. I am so glad that you are now writing more and more novels. And if I remember in my last live session, you promised that you will come up with a book around April, May, and I'm really happy to see that you have achieved your goal. So,
Thank
uh,
you.
congratulations. And uh, And I'm also going to take a commitment from you when we end this session. Then when is your next book coming? So that you will stay focused. And I hope you will write 20 books when we have our next session.
Oh my God. वो तो नहीं होगा. Your level of consistency थोड़ा time लगेगा, but yes, you are motivating me a lot.
See, okay, I thought about first I because you read my book a snippet, so I thought why not I should
Yes,
also read out some portion of your book so that our readers can know how so I am going to start from the start. I wanted to read something else, but I'm going to start from
oh,
the start
okay.
yeah,
Wow.
because of the prologue, it's quite interesting. It starts in a very interesting note. That's why I picked it. So prologue,
This is the
yep,
book that
this
made
is the
me
cover. Yeah,
love and never
quite
give up.
quirky and cute cover.
Yes. We have Gitabi Darzi here, who is very fascinated by your bookshelf, and
Oh,
they
Miss
can see
Bond. Yeah, here is
1996.
the Miss Bond.
Yes, go on.
Okay, prologue. जा सिमरन जा जी ले अपनी जिंदगी. The girl spoke louder than the actor who uttered the dialogues on screen. Her voice carried so much emotion that one would think it was her own life story being portrayed in the movie. She was bouncing in her seat and cheered for the female actor who began chasing the train, which was slowly moving away from the platform. Come on, Simran, run faster. Yes, girl, you can do this. Her enthusiasm made those around her look at her, either in amusement or irritation. As soon as the actress was able to board the train and be in the arms of her beloved, she jumped out of her seat. She whistled, clapped, and cheered on, blowing kisses towards the on screen couple as they set off together into the sunset. The end credits of the film rolled in alongside a song from the movie. Most of the crowd had begun to disperse and move out of the cinema hall, but the girl was looking at the screen with wide, unblinking eyes. Gayu, it's over, let's move. Another girl, who seemed to be her companion for the movie, tugged at her arms and made to drag her. No, no, Simi, please wait. This is my favorite bit. The screen showed a scene of a mustard field where the female protagonist come running. Quick, go to the other end of the hall. Quick, be my Raj for today, Simran. Guy, you seriously? Do we really have to do this? Wasn't coming to watch an almost decade old movie to a shady theater like this enough? The girl merely folded her arms over her chest in response while the off-screen Simran fumed. The girl continued to look at the screen with anticipation and then at her friend with impatience. Now it's for our viewers to find out what happens next.
Yes, and I'm sure whoever heard you reading out, they know which movie we are talking about here.
Yeah.
Anyone who's a Bollywood fan can obviously guess the movie.
Easily. Yeah. And it just sets the tone that there is going to be the undercurrents of Bollywood and underlying theme of movies and love for movies. And uh, I mean, it used to happen. I don't know if kids nowadays do, but we used to mimic the dialogues from our favorite movies and movie actors a lot when we were in school or college, especially in school. Now it sounds quite cringy, but that's what it used to happen. And it's quite nostalgic. So yeah, that was from my side. And now we will begin to the part where you will be faced with some very tough questions. Okay. Yeah, I have two really interesting questions for you. So, as you are a romance writer, so my questions will be centered around your area of expertise. Although I also wanted to ask you about murders and autopsy, but no, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so now, till now, correct me if I am mistaken, you have written two full-fledged novels, and both
Yeah,
are romance.
yeah.
And also, they are quite light-hearted, quirky. They have incidents from daily life, so very, very simple and light-hearted novels. But the thing with romance, and many of you might relate to me that people say that romance novels have this notoriety of projecting some incidents or stories which are too over the top, or they are too something which cannot happen in real life. If someone loves, if a guy loves a girl, he loves like मैं तुम्हारे लिए चांद तारे तोड़ लाऊंगा, or that sort of things. Romance is criticized that they project these kind of things, but your novels don't have these things. So, what was it a conscious effort? And if yes, then what efforts you or what actions you did while writing to ensure that it doesn't go in that territory?
Okay, so firstly, yes, we do have this, preconceived idea in our heads that, uh, the romance that is shown in books and movies, it's unreal. It doesn't happen in real life. There's a reason for that, and also, of course, because we do dramatize it a bit, in especially in movies and especially in Bollywood movies, we do dramatize it a bit, and it does seem unreal कि ये ऐसा थोड़ी होता है असली लाइफ में ऐसी थोड़ी होती है प्यार की कहानी. So that is also there, and secondly, we also have to understand that the love story that we are watching or reading, it is just a few chapters from the entire love story that the couple goes through. We don't, it's not their entire life. So we are not going to see their everyday life, what they are doing while they are engaging in their talks, or how they are, leading their day-to-day lives. So these two things we have to keep in mind while reading as a reader also. And for me, as a viewer and reader of such movies and books, I understood this particular second point at a very young age. They are not going to show the entire story. They are not going to show the bad parts of the story. So this is
Mhm.
something that we have to keep in mind. And having said that, when I started writing my own story, I wanted to show the real side also, the ugly sides also, and that comes out a bit in my second book. In the first book, it was not there as much, but in the second book, I have tried to show a little bit of conflict and tried to show that these are the kind of problems that at least the people who go for love marriages go through. And ये ऐसा होता है कि they have a
Mhm.
past, that past carries on with them into the
Mhm.
present relationship, and then how they involve the families in their love story, what the next
Okay.
steps are. And
Yep.
I have also tried to show the part after the marriage कि ये
Mhm.
शादी पे happily ever after मत
Happily
दिखाओ.
ever after.
शादी के बाद वाला जो होता है वो that is the more dramatic phase. That's when the real challenge begins. So I have also tried to include that part, and I have also included the part where before marriage also they spent some time together, beyond a few hours. They were also staying with each other for a while. So I have tried to show that part also. Okay, no, you have to first get comfortable with each other beyond a few hours, beyond spending a few hours with each other, and then comes the step of whether you want to get married at all, or whether you want to get married to that person or not. So these are the kind of things that I consciously try to put into my stories to try to make them realistic.
Very, very pertinent point. One of the points which I picked, that when the hero and heroine comes, they don't come with a clean slate. There is a past in their life which affects their present. Very interesting, which is not shown in most of the romance novels or movies, especially Varun's, because that is the most, I can say Varun's past has the most impact on the present of Varun and Gayatri's
Right.
life. That is one of the plot points or one of the twists in the story. That's really interesting thing, which I don't know how many people will spot it when they are reading, but yeah, really interesting. And also what happens after marriage, because happily ever after नाम की कोई चीज नहीं होती है, life goes on. So yeah, really that's really interesting and realistic take on romance.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
in both my stories, what I have tried to done is not make the ending a cliched one in both the
Mm.
stories. So that is also one thing that I consciously do. And I think one of the readers also pointed it out very correctly that Manali is known for writing romances with an unconventional ending.
Ending. Yeah, right. Okay, now moving on to my second question. So the first part of my second question, first is we have seen that you have incorporated Bollywood uh, movies and songs quite effectively in the form of dialogues or the scenes. They are actively being part of the scene or dialogues. But other than that, there is one more thing which I find more impressive is that you have actively included the festivals,
Hmm.
which uh, which I must say, if we see in movies, they put it in some item song or something like that. But you have dedicated chapters, not only one chapter, but multiple chapters spanning over a festival. So there was Navratri, there was Dandiya, there was Holi, there were a lot of things, and a lot of things. It was not like the two characters are just playing Holi. An entire plot is happening around that festival. Okay, there are plot twists happening. The characters' lives are changing in those festivals. Their lives are changing, and different things, important things of their lives are happening around it. Again, it is very well executed. I don't know how many people are going to appreciate that, but very well executed. As a writer, I'm saying. So again, was it a conscious effort to include festivals? What was your thought behind it? Or you
Uh,
were feeling nostalgic about India and Indian festival, staying abroad?
yeah, that was definitely there. I was feeling nostalgic about missing India and the festivities that go on around each festival because यहाँ पे तो festivals होते नहीं है. होते भी है तो चार पांच होते हैं. And how much will you participate in those because you don't really know the cultural background of those. When you are in India and you are celebrating an Indian festival, you know what is the backstory. Most of us know. Most of us know why we are celebrating it. Here we
Hmm.
don't know that much. And also another thing, Neelabh, when I was writing the story, I wanted to include the festivals because in my experience, I have seen as while growing up and while enjoying the festivals that I have written about in both the stories, is that a lot of us, let go of our inhibitions when we are enjoying these festivals. So that
Hmm.
is one factor that I wanted to put into play here. And
Right.
that comes across, I have tried to put it that way. I hope it comes across as well that, all the characters, when they're celebrating the festivals that I spoke about or that I have written about, they are at their most carefree. They are in the moment and, they are always, at their best selves, best behavior, best or worst, whatever you can say, because they are not putting up any pretensions while they are celebrating those festivals. And it is during those festivals that they are together. यही मौका होता है when we are all together and enjoying in the most carefree manner and that is when the emotions are also at a very high level. They are all like चलो आज तो ये करना है वो करना है, especially during Holi. If you notice I have also deliberately done a parallel story between two Holis in the story and you see the similarities also.
Hmm.
So that is also a deliberate thing which I was trying to show ki the characters have changed, but the festival and the way it is celebrated almost remains the same.
Editor Devanshi
So
is taking notes of our live session. Yeah.
happy to be of help, Devansha. Yeah, so that was one conscious thing that I did because in my experience, when I was celebrating those festivals, it was an occasion when I was meeting a lot of people after a long time. It was an occasion we were together for a short period after a long time, and then secondly, it was because it was when we were all in our most carefree, most happy moods,
Hmm. Hmm.
and there's a likely a chance that something or the other might happen. मेरे experience में I have seen that during Diwali, Holi, and Kite Festival, I have seen a lot of love stories happening during those festivals around me. So yeah, that's why I have incorporated them into my stories also.
Again, very pertinent point that people leave a lot of inhibitions during the festival. Like I don't like Holi. I don't like to play Holi. But a few years ago, there was in the open. There were a lot of people were playing Holi. So I just felt why not just enjoy. Otherwise, I hate Holi. But yeah, I can
Hmm.
relate to your point. Again, very well, very beautifully executed in your book. So, okay, that's all from my side. Although I have a lot of questions, but people would get bored. I have a lot of we start discussing on technical things on writing, and people
Yes.
just start leaving. So just leave it at that, and the stage is yours.
Yes. Yes. So now we come to my favorite part of the episode, which is the rapid fire round. And I'm
Yeah.
going to put
Even
my
I think
question.
Scorpion Ops. This Scorpion Ops books, they are called rapid fire reads.
Yes, when I was, reading the cover page and, the way you have described it on Amazon, I was wondering, did I inspire this?
Okay. Let's start for the rapid fire round.
Okay, my first question to you is because I have noticed this in your books,
Hmm.
a political or societal norm that you have not focused in your books till now, and you don't intend to include it ever.
Okay. See, politics and social issues, they are something, if someone is saying that I'm not going to take up, then they are wasting an opportunity. Anything you write about politics, it's going to be a super hit. Anything you are going to write about a social issue, people are going to lap it up. So if I have to leave something which I'm not going to write, maybe it is about politics around language, politics around
Hmm.
language. It is very unfortunate and disheartening for me when people say, if you don't know my language, then you don't belong to my state. You are an
Hmm.
outsider. Very disheartening. It's my land, yeah. I love your culture. I love your people. So what? I can't speak your language. So this language politics, which is going around in India, and it is something. If I take a position, if I take a certain position, it is going to piss off a lot of people on the other side. And if I
Hmm.
take the other position, then it is going to piss off a lot of people on this side. So language is something, it's very disheartening for me when people say that if you can't speak my language, you are an outsider, or first speak my language and then come to my state. It is something which the politics is going around it, and it is a social issue also, but I will never take this topic.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is an issue, and I also feel disheartened that we have this kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but your
Quite
turn.
sensitive topic, so let's end it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question for you, if if you if you could co-write a book with any author, be it a best-selling author or any author, if you have to co-write a book, then which author or authors that will be?
Two authors I have grown up reading and whose books I still enjoy, though they are majorly considered children's books. But I'm going to say Ruskin Bond and Sudha Murty. These are two writers who I have a genuine,
Hmm.
fond memories with, and I feel like warmth in my heart whenever I talk about them or whenever I read their books. So yeah, these two, hands down. And I also know for a fact that Ruskin Bond is very approachable, so why not?
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Maybe someday.
Yeah, so my next question to you, I'm sure over the years and in your writing habit so far, you have developed something of your own, a writing habit or quirk which you suddenly chanced upon and now it has become like a regular thing. Tell us about one such particular quirk that you have, chanced upon and now it's like a regular thing.
Okay, so before I answer, firstly, I will put a disclaimer that never ever adopt this thing in your life if you are a writer. And second thing, it's going to sound super weird, so don't make fun of me. So, so what happens is what I have realized over the years. I am writing since 2016. My first book came out, so it's been quite a few years.
Hmm.
Whenever I am driving, I get some really good story ideas whenever I'm driving. Maybe it a motorcycle or car or anything. Whenever I'm driving, I'm not sitting in the back seat or traveling. It's driving. When I'm driving, when I'm focusing on the road, I don't know how some really interesting ideas come to my mind. So
Okay.
I utilize my commuting when I'm driving to office and coming back. That uh, that period is dedicated for listening book. I connect my phone to the Bluetooth system of the car, and I put a book in the Audible, and I'm listening. and I'm thinking what I can do in my next book, or what I can do in this book in the climax or in the middle or the starting, or some new story idea. Again, don't try this. It is very, I mean, you get distracted, but this is a weird habit I have developed and I do it every day. Now you wonder
Oh,
how I write so many books and get so many ideas.
now I know the secret. I'm not going to try it, but probably maybe get inspired by it. Your turn.
Okay, so the question for uh, your most memorable feedback that you have received from any of your reader, review, feedback, anything, most memorable.
There's one instance that's going to stick by me forever, and this was when my third book came out. It was in the middle of the pandemic in July 2020. I released my third book, and we were all going through a tough period at that time because the pandemic was at its high.
Uncertainty.
Yeah, yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty. We were, losing loved ones, right, left, right, center, and it was a really tough period. And I released my third book at that time, and it was my first outing with Kindle and KDP. And after a week or 10 days, the and the book was released, I received an Instagram DM, and somebody had written in that DM that I was going through a very low phase in my life, and I was almost about to give up. But your book gave me the positivity and inspiration to go on, and I think that's going to stay with me forever because nothing can beat a message like that, a
Yeah,
compliment like that.
yeah, it comes straight from the heart. It is coming straight from the heart of the
Yes,
reader. Yeah,
yes,
but lovely. Yeah.
yes. So that was one memorable thing. Feedback. Not yet. Quite fascinating, to be honest, to me at least. So Devansh is definitely going to try your idea, it seems.
Yeah, so just take out your car and go out for a drive, man.
I also have a weird habit like this. A lot of authors, and writers and creative people, they say that when they are working, they need complete silence. But Mira completely ulta hai.
Hmm.
And this is a habit I developed while writing the first book, and it continued when I was writing the second book also. Uh, so both my stories, they have a lot of songs, and especially in the second book, the songs also come with choreography and performances. So
Yes.
when I was writing about those scenes, writing those scenes, and I kept the songs on in the background while writing those scenes. It
All
helped
right.
me, stay connected to the scene, and in my head the dance steps were going on. So that helped, and now it's a habit. Whenever I am writing about a song, or whenever I'm including a song in the story, the song must be playing in the background.
Interesting.
A
So
lot of
you're
authors and
listening
writers are
to,
going to say, no, this is disturbing. But for me, it's like it helps me stay focused.
so when you were writing the first chapter or the prologue, which I read out, you were you listening to Tujhe Dekha
Yes,
Tu Ye
yes,
Jana Sanam?
yes. No, the theme song, the theme music of DDLJ.
Ah, okay, that's quite lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, my next
Okay.
question to you is an action thriller movie or book that you have read, one you have enjoyed and one you have not enjoyed recently.
Okay. Recently, I'll tell about the movies because I am reading almost like two, three books a week. I'm reading a lot, so can't
Yes.
pick a name. But I'll tell about movies. I watched a movie on Netflix recently. It was Mother's Day. Again, it
Okay.
has a female protagonist, quite badass female protagonist, and her son is kidnapped, and she's going to rescue her son. A lot of hardcore actions, a strong female protagonist. So
Jennifer
the name is
Lopez, right?
Mother's Day.
Jennifer Lopez, right?
Mm, I don't remember actually.
Okay.
It's been a while. I watch very few movies. I
Okay.
hate the things which are moving and transient. I love pages and words. And
Okay.
also,
Yeah.
I tried to watch Citadel, Priyanka Chopra's series, Citadel, but
Hmm.
after third episode, I kind of gave up and returned to writing and reading.
Oh,
But it
okay.
happens
So,
with me quite a lot. I mean, I finish a web series almost uh, in a span of 6 months, you can say.
Okay.
So that's the kind of attention these things hold for me.
Yeah.
So the
So Devant is correcting me. He's saying Jelowala is the mother. The mother.
Hmm.
What you are saying is
Sure.
different.
Okay, वो जेलो वाला भी देखना पड़ेगा फिर. Okay,
Okay, your turn.
moving on to my next question. Uh, okay, this is going to be interesting. If your book was a food item, what dish or snack would it be?
Oh my God. Since it is based in Mumbai, I'm going to say vada pav.
Okay.
Because a lot of Mumbaikas are loving the story. Since I've made Mumbai such an integral part of the entire
Mhm.
story, both the books. And Mumbai forms like it is as much a part of the story as the characters are. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll say
The
vada pav.
places, restaurant, cafe, all those things you have mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, Vada Pav in the first story, it forms a very special memory for Aisha Banerjee. And, her and Viren's friendship was kind of, cemented during that. So, yeah, Vada
Yes.
Pav.
What about? Okay.
Yeah, my next question to you is a genre that you are tired of or will never try as a writer.
Genre, I think college romance. College romance. I mean, I'm not in terms of reading, but writing.
Hmm.
I mean, I have started writing almost 6 to 7 years after college, and also my college life. Even I mean, no matter how much I would like to say that we had so much fun, it was quite boring because we had very few girls. So
Oh,
no chance of romance. So that's why, and also, I mean, I'm reading Chetan Bhagat Durjoy Datta. It's been quite a long while. So maybe college romance I will not try. Maybe I'll try. If at all I will write romance, it will be something else.
okay. Yeah, if you write romance, I'm looking forward to that. I want to see how a thriller writer writes romance. Your turn.
Okay. So if you were a character in your book Love and Melodrama,
Hmm.
which one would it be?
Definitely Aisha Banerjee, because she is one of the most relatable characters for me, and she is the most similar to me. Out of all the three girls that are a part of the story, Aisha Banerjee is the one I relate to the most. A, because she's an outsider, and she moves to Mumbai at the same age when I did, and also because she's a poet. तो ये दो
Ah.
चीजें मिलर है. And
Poetry is an integral part of your life. Like crime and corruption is integral part of my life, my fictional life, not the real life. Yeah, because I see a different kind of. I mean, when you write poetry, I've read your two poetry books. I see a different kind of uh, emotions you pour out
thank you.
in the word, in the form of words. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so Aisha is somebody I relate to the most out of the three girls, so definitely her. My last
okay.
question to you is pick the cast for your female leads in all the series that you have written so far and justify it with a movie or, a series they have done.
Okay. See, female for the first book which I wrote, not the first book, I mean
The
the
first
first
series.
crime thriller which I wrote was Private Investigator Rashmi Purohit
Puro.
Mystery
Yes.
Series. So, I mean, at that time there wasn't any, I mean, actor in my head. But when if you ask, it will be closest to I think Radhika Apte. That was the
Mm-hmm.
kind of if I can see the look and the way she
Mm-hmm.
speaks and she looks. Also, she was a detective or an agent in her
Mrs.
uh,
Undercover.
Mrs. Undercover. Yeah, that it was similar kind of where she was investigating and finding a serial killer.
Mm.
Quite similar. So for Rashmi Purohit, Radhika Apte, for there is one in Heartland series. There is one DRI. Uh, DRI maybe we have this. actress. She was in Inside as Sayali Gupta. I don't remember. She comes in front of. Maybe she can portray uh, Rihanna Rasool. If you, I mean, that's quite a coincidence. You see, there is one movie. It is not yet released. It is coming. John Abraham's production. John Abraham is the protagonist. I mean the lead. It's named Tehran. So you go and see the character portrayed by Manushi Chiller, and she
Okay.
is looking exactly like Rihanna Rasool. What I thought and wrote about her. So
Okay.
maybe in their Instagram or you can find. So Manushi Chiller
Is
is
the
looking
trailer of the
quite.
movie out?
No, I just saw an Instagram post where she was posting. John Abraham was posting that we are playing role together in this movie.
Okay.
Just a single
I'll check it
Instagram
out.
picture.
Interesting.
So yeah, that
Uh,
time I saw and I found yeah, she's quite looking similar to Rihanna Rasool.
I'll have to check this update from John Abraham then. Because
Yeah.
when I was reading, I was somehow getting the vibes of Sonakshi Sinha. I don't know why. Because maybe, probably because I have watched Dahar recently and she has done a
Hmm.
good job there. But what you are saying, I also have to check it out now. I was expecting you to say Sonakshi Sinha for at least one of the female leads, but you didn't. क्योंकि मेरे दिमाग में वो बैठ गई अब.
उसको भी एक कैरेक्टर बनाना होगा.
Right. Okay, so that brings me and you also. I think we are done with all the questions.
No, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
ऐसा थोड़ी मतलब. Okay. So, okay, how do you celebrate finishing a book?
How do I celebrate? I don't write anything. I mean, I have the idea, though I have the idea for my next book in my head, I don't write for 2 weeks at all. At least related to books, I don't write at all. Uh, I keep writing my book reviews and my blog posts
Mm,
and my
mm,
poetry, but I
mm.
don't work. I consciously keep away from working on a book.
For two
That's the
weeks.
way I celebrate that. Detox.
Detox. And I start writing within 2 hours of finishing a book.
Oh my God. I don't understand how you do that. My mind will get clogged.
Yeah, it takes
Okay.
a toll. It takes a toll on your mind when you finish a book.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Devansh has said something. We have moved past the subject, but just checked my Netflix, and yeah, Mother's Day is a Polish language film.
Yeah.
And
We
Jemu
can
wala
sorted,
movie is
Divansh.
a daughter, not a son.
Daughter.
हाँ, Jelo wala jo movie, which I was saying,
Ah,
no,
ah. Okay.
that
Okay.
has a daughter, not a son. You said son, right? So that's a
Yes.
different movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Acha, John Abraham has
Done
another
it, right.
film coming up. Yes,
Yeah.
he does. And so apparently with Manushi Chiller and who would be the perfect protagonist for
Rihanna
Neelabh's.
Rasool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this has been a fun conversation as always, Neelabh. Thank you for joining me. And since you have made me, in the beginning of the session, you said you are going to make me promise another book. I am
Yes.
going to announce it just the way I did it for our previous session. My next book will be out in August, and it will be a poetry collection.
Okay. August. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite impressed. You are coming out with new books in every few months.
Yes.
Otherwise, I really don't believe in this 19th century approach that you have to take 3 years to complete a book, then 2 years for editing, then 5 years for crying that my book is not getting published. Okay, that's really great. I'm
That
looking forward to your new poetry collection and yet another
yes,
collaborative
we'll be doing
life.
and I'm sure you will have 5 books by then. 5 more books by then.
Let's see.
We'll do this again soon, sometime in August or September. And thank you for
Sure.
joining me again. Bye.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Always a
weekend.
pleasure. Bye bye. Cheers.
Bye.